What are you doing? Started building a netting frame for my cauliflowers because I'd outgrown the polytunnel that was over it. And so all I've done is I've cut 6 canes and banged them into the ground and then cut the pipe in and slipped them over. So I'm just going to fix some canes on to make it more sturdy and then cover it with the netting. Finished now. I've had to cut an extra piece of the enviro mesh to put on the end, but that's all secure now. Hopefully no little pests are getting there. And I've hoed all this. This is where all my onions and garlic are going to be going next, and I'm just having a bit of a sweep up, and I think that'll do for today. Morning everyone. So today it is quite a wet day, although it's not raining. We've had a lot of rain I think in the night, so I'm just looking. I'm going to plant these today. So this is my onions. So these are radar, so they're going in a bed that I prepared yesterday. And I've also got my garlic bulb, which I've got to split up and plant those. The Trek White. So that's one of the jobs today. The little netted polytunnel I made yesterday, it's looking good. Doesn't seem to have been any damage overnight. And what else? Oh, I've actually got a courgette growing, the first one. Now this was a plant that I got at the end of the season from the garden centre. It was quite tiny, it was very yellow, but I thought I'll give it a go because the other 2 plants that I had died. So that's in the ground. It's taken some time to get established, but it has actually got a courgette coming, so I'm quite pleased about that. The leaves on the borlotti are going very, very yellow now, so they're dying back. So it's just a case of I'm going to leave all the pods on there to dry, and then once they've dried I will be picking them and getting the beans out and storing them for the winter, so they'll be nice in stews and various other meals. What else am I going to do today? I don't know. Shall we have a cup of coffee? I think we might just have a cup of coffee and I'll come back to you in a bit. Okay, so I'm going to have a go at planting these now. So I've put a cane out as a marker, just so I can get a neat straight line. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to stand on the soil because I haven't got a board. Right, something you need to take note of is that with these particular sets, there's a point at each end. The bit that goes in the ground is, if that's clear enough, that's the root end, that goes into the ground, and this is the end where the leaves will shoot. And when you put that in the ground, you want to make sure the soil's quite loose, because if you push hard you'll damage the root end. So you've got to be quite careful with it. Bulb inside a bulb. Whoops. Oh, it's a beauty. So that's garlic I'm going to plant next. Exactly like the onions, you need to plant this end, which is the root end, in the ground, and this is where the shoots will come. That's the garlic. So that's it, that's the onion and the garlic planted. I've come into the greenhouse because it's now raining outside. This is my tomatoes. I'm having the whole lot out. They've been absolutely disastrous this year. I've never had problems growing them before. When I had the polytunnel, they absolutely thrived. They loved it, but they're not been happy in here. And in the heat wave, when I was at work on one occasion, it got up to about 50 degrees, and I think it's just fried them. So they're all coming out, and my Christmas spuds are going in. I've got one pot already. Let me just show you that. They're coming up nicely. But once I've freed these pots up, I can put the rest of my winter potatoes in. So that's what I'm going to do now. Just given the greenhouse a thorough cleaning. It was in quite a mess, and I removed all my tomatoes and planted my winter potatoes. I'd already done one few weeks back because I had a large pot free, but now I've taken the tomatoes down, that's given me 4 more large pots to use. But something I've discovered, and I've got a feeling now, the very reason why the tomatoes have failed so miserably, I was quite horrified actually. I think you can see there's kind of a wet patch there. When I lifted out the plants, the root balls were all tunnelled and it was full of ants. And then when I opened up the grow bags that the pots were sitting in, there was full colonies in both. So I think really at the end of the day that's what was detrimental to the plants, and not the lack of care that I gave them, because I kept them watered all the time. The doors and the vents were open. I know we had ridiculously hot weather, but I think now, having seen that, that was probably what the main issue was, and I hadn't realised, so I'm going to have to be very vigilant next year. While I'm in the greenhouses, I'm just giving these a soak because they're getting a bit dry. But look at these lemons. They featured in my first video. They were tiny, they were just tiny little seedlings, but these are just doing so well. These two here, these are the ones that got nibbled, but they're recovering, they've got all good new growth on, so they're just having a good soak. I've got a few good peppers. It's a nice one there. Another one there. And I've still got some chilies coming. There's a little one there. And at the back there's a flower. And the Cheyenne, they're still throwing out fruit, so I'm really pleased with them. Something I mentioned earlier was the blotty beans are all starting to die back, but they're covered in pods, so I'm just going to leave them to dry now. Leeks are still looking really healthy, no sign of rust, which is just brilliant. And then the salads that I planted a few weeks back, it's a bit hit and miss. Chard's okay, although the dog sat on it. The kale is trying to grow, but they've been nibbled. And I've got 2 lettuce left, but on the other side the slugs have had the lot, all gone. And the kale this side, all gone. So I'm going to have to sow some more seeds. Well, I think that's it for today. I've had 2 lovely days off. I feel like I've accomplished something. I'm going to have a quick tidy up and then a cup of coffee. So until next time, take care. I'll speak to you all soon.